Hi, it's Matt from Go Green Autos. So here we have a Peugeot Partner van. It's 100% electric. It's got the 22 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's owned batteries on this, so there's no lease payments like there is on a Renault Kangoo van. And these vans have DC rapid charging, so you can do the miles in them. They've also got air conditioning, and it's the only van with 3 seats up front. So this van is nearly 3 years old, just coming up to its 3rd anniversary. So it needs an MOT next month. I'll get that done, obviously. So nearly 3 years old. It's in remarkable condition. It's still like new. It's only done 3,000 miles or so, but we'll get to that in a minute. And as you probably know from my videos, I sort of point out any scratch, stone chip, or any negative, so you know exactly what you're buying, which allows you to buy the vans without coming to view them first, and I deliver them to you. But with this one, there really isn't anything to point out to you apart from a couple of marks on the back there. It really is like new still. It's just a remarkable condition. So while we're here, let's just show you the back. I'll just move the charging cables. We'll talk about them in a second. But as you can see, it's in amazing condition. It's hardly been used. It doesn't have a solid bulkhead, this one. It's just got the ladder frame behind the driver. You can put that seat down to put long loads through. There's a couple of little paint marks there on the side. You know, there are tiny. There's a couple of little scratches on the side, but you know, it's nothing to worry about. And it genuinely is like a new van still. Let me just put those down because it is heavy, and I'll show you under the floor there. This rubber matting is what they come with from the factory. So most people obviously ply line them. So this one you can get done. You can get these ply lined for about 150 quid. You can buy the kit and screw it in yourselves, or there are services where people come out in vans and fit them for very little money. So if you want to ply line it, you can do. So yeah, the charging cables. So this one does have the portable charger, which means you can charge the van on a 3-pin plug. They only draw 10 amps, so they do take a long time, but it'll always be charged overnight. And then this is your type 1 to type 2 charging cable. So this is what you would use when you charge from a proper wall charger or a public charging post. And while we're on the back here, this one has got factory fitted reversing sensors. So let's just put that back there. So condition wise, I did say there's a couple of marks at the back. It's very insignificant really, but there's a mark here in the plastic bumper, and there is a dent there in the door, and that is it. The rest of it is in great condition. So it was sign written. Left those stickers on because they obviously have probably a bit of benefit, because most people don't realise these vans exist in electric, because it looks no different to a diesel van. You know, the only way you could tell that this was electric is because that badge there, and maybe if you really got a keen eye, you might notice there's no exhaust at the back. So this is where your diesel filler cap would normally be, and this is your CHAdeMO 50 kilowatt DC rapid charge port. So typically on a motorway network, you can charge these vans in about 20 minutes to 80% full from flat. And then you've got sliding door on the near side, and I've shown you before, but yeah, as you can see, just amazing condition inside. These doors are nice and heavy, shut with a nice reassuring thud. And then condition inside is just remarkable. It really looks like it hasn't been used. It just still looks like new. Seats are all in great condition. So the seating in these vans are quite nice. You can lift up the passenger seat there and you've got storage, or you can fold down the passenger seat there and then you can load long items straight through. It's flush there with the floor. And then the middle seat folds down here to give the driver a bit of a table, and then the base of the middle seat lifts up and you've got storage in there, but in here is your pump and a gunk for the tyre repairs, because you don't have a spare tyre on these because the battery pack is under the floor where the spare wheel would have been. And as you probably know, most modern vehicles don't have spare wheels now to save weight and lower emissions. So the only other slight thing to point out, there's a little bit of grazing there on one of the wheel trims, but you know, that's insignificant really. Tyres still look like new, and then the wheel trims, all the others are just mark free, and it's all dent free, scratch free. As you can see, tyres are in amazing condition, and this front wheel trim is all mark free, and this front bumper it doesn't have a mark on it. It's quite amazing actually that this is in such good condition for a 3-year-old van. So let's just jump in. I'm getting some carpet mats. They will be here in the next day or two. And then inside the van here, this one is nicely kitted out. I'll just start the engine up. Those lights aren't really flashing, that's the phone making them look like they're flashing. But we've got air conditioning. We've got a single slot CD and a radio. What's unusual about this one is it does have Bluetooth built into the radio. I haven't seen this before in a Peugeot. So it's obviously a radio upgrade from new. And here we've got an auxiliary input. We've got a stereo plug and a USB port. Down here we've got the standard 12-volt socket. This has got electric windows, central locking obviously, and independent locking for the rear doors. This is your gear selector. All electrics are effectively automatic. They don't even have a gearbox. But here we got park, reverse, neutral and drive. It means you've got room here for a middle passenger. So these are the only vans with 3 seats. You've got a decent size glove box, door bins. The cup holders on these vans are in the door bins. But we've got storage up here. We've got this deep storage compartment here behind the dashboard, and then up here on the roof we've got a full-size tray going along the roof here for storage as well. So a very practical van. And then just open the door here, and then down here we've got a switch here to turn the rear parking sensors off, traction control switch, and we've got electric mirrors. And the dash on these are very simple to use. This is your battery, effectively your fuel tank, and we can see there it's fully charged, half charged, quarter charged, and you have a, the same as the old fuel light. When the battery gets low, you get an orange light. So very simple. This is your economy meter, and it shows when the heating is using power. So actually, let's do it. Let's put some heat on. And we're now generating, well, let's just go back, sort of 0.5% heat, and we can see there the economy meter is risen a bit there, showing we are using energy to produce that heat, as you do in an electric vehicle. And then you've got air conditioning on this side, and then air conditioning used is a little bit less, doesn't require so much energy to produce the cold air than heating does. So yeah, it's very nice. And then up here, if I just turn the volume down, we can see on the screen, this is obviously your Bluetooth to prepare pair a phone. And wow, there's quite a lot of settings on this. I haven't used one of these ones before, but let's just see if I can get out of that. And right, I wanted to bring up the screen. There we go. So this is showing you the screen. It's showing estimated range. It's very much an estimate. You're going to get more than 64 miles out of this. But what I wanted to show you is it's showing there +1 miles. So produce this it's losing 1 mile of range to have this much air conditioning on. And if we put the air conditioning to maximum and I push the button on the end of the stalk, oh, it's still saying 1 mile. That's fine. It's because it's fairly cold outside already. But when you've got the heating on, it will tell you how much range you're going to lose by having the heating at that setting. So very nice function. And then this dial in the middle is doing the same. So here we have the mileage, 3,804 miles. So very low mileage for a 3-year-old van. That's hence why it still looks like new. And then up here we've got the estimated range is 65 miles. These do more. This is because this one hasn't been driven recently. I need to take it for a drive. This is predicting the range based on the current temperature and how it was last driven. So electric vehicles don't know how you're going to drive, so they can only base on previous history, so how you have driven. So if you give an electric vehicle a blast one day and you're driving motorway speeds on your way home, then when you charge overnight, the next day the range is going to think you're going to drive, is going to predict that sort of driving. So it's going to show artificially low. So on these vans, typically you're going to get 80 to 90 miles in the summer, sort of 70 to 80 miles in the winter, something like that. Like all vehicles, it depends how you drive. If you're going to drive hard and fast, you're going to get less. But if you're going to drive economically, what electric vans like is sort of that stop-start driving, because you don't use any energy when you stop in traffic, and obviously you're getting lots of regen braking as you're slowing down, the engine braking effect. And then when you're doing that on an electric vehicle, you're producing energy and putting charge back in the battery. And the regen braking on these electric vans is quite strong. It's very good. You can genuinely drive one pedal, just accelerator, you lift off and the van will come to a complete stop without touching the brakes. So brake pads and brake discs on these vans just last forever, because if you drive them gently, you never do touch the brakes. You only touch the brakes to hold it at a junction or if you need to do an emergency stop. So let's just go through the paperwork. This van does have the 2 original remote keys. I would just say that one key has sort of split open. I've put an elastic band on it. It doesn't actually need it. It still works. The remote buttons work, and the key's obviously there, which works. You don't really use the key. That's just an emergency to unlock the door. I'll take this apart and see whether that will snap back together, but that's the spare, so it doesn't really matter. And then here's the paperwork. It's had no previous keepers, so just one owner from new. And the registration date, it was the 9th of the 11th, 2015. So as I said, it's just coming up to 3 years old, so it will need an MOT next month. These vans aren't exempt from MOT. The law did change, so it's too new to be exempt from MOT like other older electric vans. So that will need doing. And then here's all the original documents, manuals, service history book. There isn't any stamps in the service history book, probably because this is done so low mileage. The servicing on these I think is every 25,000 miles from memory, but obviously this is only done 3,000 miles, and there's no serviceable parts on electric vehicles. Obviously there's no oil, there's no engine. All they do is change your pollen filter and then inspect it. So an MOT effectively does that same job. It's a more thorough inspection than what they would on a service. So obviously that's going to get done next week or so when I get that booked in. And then it's just a pollen filter change, and that's all you do on a service. On electric vehicles, you just drive them. So this van is ready. I can deliver anywhere in the country. If you're interested, do call or email. Also, don't delay. I've had these vans, I've had a few of these vans in now. They always sell very quickly, and there's just very few around, particularly in this condition. So if you're interested, then let me know as soon as possible. And as you probably know from my website, I include the home wall charger free of charge. That's the Rolex 32 amp charger. That typically takes 2 to 3 weeks to get installed, but obviously in the meantime in the back there was that portable charger, so you can charge this on a normal 3-pin plug. And actually I didn't show you the AC charging, did I? I showed you the DC charging port on the other side. The AC charging port is here on the van. So this is a 3.6 kilowatt charging port. So this is what you would charge using that portable charger, or if you're on the using a public charging post, most of them are sort of 7 kilowatt charging post, you would connect that green charging lead in here. Many of those are free as well, particularly if they're in retail parks, supermarkets or shopping centres. It's a free charge. But also I'd also add that using that portable 10 amp charger that's in the back there, that does also allow you to charge the van anywhere you are. So if you're on site during the day or at your workplace, you could just charge this van on a normal 3-pin plug. So I think that's all I need to show you. As I possibly have said, that sticker on the side can be removed if you want to remove it, but hey, it tells people it's an electric van. And these stickers here are standard Peugeot, straight from the factory. All the electrics have these on. Actually, looking at that, even the door caps are still immaculate. It is one really tidy van.